Well, hi YouTubers, hi, I'm back with the 23 books of 2023, and this is a very interesting book. It's fascinating, it's historical, it's arrogant, it's flawed, and I really enjoyed it. It's very rare to have a book like this where there is no happy endings, the characters are flawed beyond belief, all of them are, and it's so about this woman who is, for her community, is very kind of idealistic and kind of a bit more heavy setted, if you will. However, it's kind of like screaming against the tide. Okay, so I was impressed. It's by Tracy Chevalier, The Last Runaway, and she's the author of A Girl with a Pearl Earring, which was mocked incessantly during the First Centurions film. Okay, when you hire Colin Firth, that happens. So, anyway, Honor Bride is a sheltered Quaker who has very rented out of 1850s Dorset when she impulsively emigrates to America. Opposed to the slavery that defines and divides the country, she finds her principles tested to the limit when a runaway slave appears at the farm of her new family. In this tough, unsentimental place where whiskey bottles sit alongside quilts, Honor befriends two spirited women who will teach her how to turn ideas into actions. One's Miss Reed, the other one is Belle. Okay, and it's very interesting as well because as a character, Honor is she is impulsive. She is very arrogant. Okay, arrogance is her flaw. She does think she knows better. She's been cast into this new world, if you will, of 1850s Dorset. Okay, to America. Yet she thinks she knows better. This book could have been written at any point now. I mean, yeah, some points it actually felt very kind of 16th century as well. So it's been here. Grace's sister, sorry, Grace, Honor's sister, is agreed to be married in America, okay, in this Quaker community, and it's been here, right. She knew why Grace had asked her, hoping a new life would quell her sister's heartache. Honor had been jilted, and though her spirit was less adventurous, the prospect of remaining in a community that pitied her propelled her into following Grace. She had been dissatisfied in Bridgeport, but once Samuel had released her from their engagement, she was eager as Grace to leave. And what Samuel did was that he met someone else and he married out. He married out the Quaker community and into the Church of England. The plan was for Grace to go out there, get married, and then Honor would follow and find a husband of her own and settle down. And what happens is though, Grace passes away from yellow fever. Okay, so Mr. Cox, her sister's intended, is now wifeless, and now also is living with his sister-in-law because his brother passed away previously. So he's going to wind up with two women in this house. A single man with two women. One, the sister of your intended, and the other one is your sister-in-law. Right, very interesting. Interesting dynamic and setup as well because Honor did not want to expect. I mean, she lost her sister, but she's gained a new one, and now that's also negotiating the dynamics of that and navigating the dynamics of that too. Right, and it's here. Right, wherever she was, there was no doubt that this was America. The quality of the sunlight was different, yellower and fiercer, biting for the air to warm her. Indeed, it was going to be a hot day. She ran her hands, admitted it was fresh enough to be grateful for the quilt. She ran her hands over it. Unlike most American quilts she had seen so far, this one was not appliqued or pierced square, but proper English patchwork. Well made, so that while the cloth was faded, there was no tears or loose seams. Right. The design was of orange and yellow and red diamonds that made up a star in the centre of the quilt, a star of Bethlehem, like Biddy's quilt and what Donovan had described his mother making. Recalling her encounter with him the day before, Honor shuddered. Now, that's two things. Biddy is a character who you don't meet, but however, Honor writes her letters explaining, okay, Honor uses Biddy as her internal voice, if you will, okay, she can confess her sins to her friend, okay. Donovan is a character you meet very early on who's looking for a runaway slave, and he keeps a chest, okay. Honor has a hope chest full of quilts and blankets, okay, things to start a new life, and which was standard, okay, when we're going over, and he keeps a key. The key to the chest is around Donovan's neck. Now, Donovan is a slave. He chases runaway slaves, okay, captures them, collects them for the bounty, and funny enough, Honor becomes very, very good friends, and it even works briefly with his sister Belle. So all these characters' lives he coincidentally kind of intertwining, and it's very interesting. Just keeping the key, in a way, kind of shows how Donovan is a terrible, horrible character. He's got no good side to him whatsoever. Okay, there's various points where he does let um, on a go when he really shouldn't, but by keeping the key, that's it's kind of like in a way a form of possession. Okay, right, key to that chest. Right, because he goes through it looking for a runaway slave. Okay, right. And at this point, Anna can't help but compare her life in England to America. It's kind of inevitable. But of course, England, slavery was abolished previous to this, and the Quakers do not practice slavery. One law was abolished mercifully. The other one, slavery is enshrined in law. Okay, there's a civil war on the horizon about this, and she keeps comparing the America to the UK, and this bit here, right? Mm-hmm. This is when Anna's sitting there with a pile of bonnets from Belle, and here you go. She would like a cottage garden to look at with different borders of flowers such as her mother grew. She'd know if any of these flowers even grew in America, if America cultivated that sort of garden. She suspected not, it was not practical. Best you hear was society was still being horned from the wilderness, and it was erected towards survival rather than decoration. Right. So they're talking, okay, about Belle and Honor talking, okay, and it's about the politics of the slave of this time, about how it's bit here now. Obviously, the dialogue, yes, the N word is used frequently throughout this book, which is a offensive word, but typical for the period. One thing I will give Tracy Chevalier her dues is that the lingo and the dialogue is perfect for this time. She did her research on this. Right, this bit here. Right. Why don't the African Americans, okay, it's not the word in the book, are made in Ohio? I thought there was no slavery here. So I'm just up in Ohio. You see 3 blacks in Oberlin. That's where they are. But freedom's guaranteed in Canada. Different country, different laws. No slave hunters got no power there. Right. Here you go. And she makes it clear, okay, what Donovan is like. Right. So Donovan's interested in you. Finally, he's suspicious of Quakers. As to quote a politician who says Quakers won't defend the country when there's war, happy to interfere in people's business when there's peace, but ain't good to get his attention. When you do, it ain't easy to get rid of him. He'll bother you over in Faithwell too. That's where Honor's heading. He's a stubborn son of a bitch, I should know. Well, he's my brother. Yeah, making it clear Donovan is not to be trusted. And interesting too, because one thing I would give this book is that it talks about the hypocrisy of the Quakers as well. That the Quakers see anyone who's not of their faith as viewed with suspicion. The fact that the country is, founded on slavery, which, but at the same time, Honor has to confront that her own religion as well, even though it opposes slavery or treating anyone second, but it still does. There's a moment where they're talking about when they went to a Quaker community hall before they embarked on their journey. Okay, right. When Grace and I entered the room in Philadelphia, there were not many benches, still free. We sat on one that was, and we asked to move because it was for the African American pew. What's that? For black members. Belle raised her eyes. There's African American Quakers? Yes, had not known there were. None came that day to meetings, and the bench remained empty. The other benches grew crowded and uncomfortable. Belle said nothing, but waited. I was surprised that friends separate black members in that way. Right, and it's true. It's absolutely true. Okay, the Quakers think that they are arrogant. Okay, even though they shouldn't be, because they preach their God in silence and they wear nothing flamboyant, okay? But at the same time, within their own faith, they are arrogant. They will turn around, okay, and say, we don't agree with the politics of this land. But also at the same time, they will still segregate their members. Right, yeah. But even things like 4th of July, okay? And Abigail, that's her, well, her, um, would have would have been um, her sister's sister-in-law, okay? They're all in together in his house, getting along, if you will, okay? And they're building a little life between themselves, right? Even things like 4th of July. Now, this is a letter which Honor writes to Biddy, which really kind of sums it up. Yesterday was 4th of July. One subject Americans feel strongly about is their independence from Britain. They are very proud of having become a separate country. I did not know what to expect. However, neither faithful nor obvious celebrated it, for be supporting the Declaration of Independence, a document I have learned does not include African Americans as equal citizens. So they go to an event, a Quaker event, and they talk about, um, you know, abolition and things like that. It's a bit more serious, okay, than the 4th of July festival. What's a shame. I'd like to see what a 4th of July festival would have been like, okay, in 1850s. But hey. And one thing I like is this. Now, typically with a book like this, is when this kind of circumstances happen, okay, the attendant dies, so the sister steps in. Adam would have married Honor. He doesn't. He marries Annabelle. He marries his sister, his brother's wife, okay, his sister-in-law. He marries his sister-in-law. That I appreciated because it's unexpected. You would think reading this that Adam, okay, is a perfectly nice guy, a bit serious, would have married Honor. No, he marries Abigail, his sister-in-law. That's clever writing. That's a nice twist, okay? That's a nice subversion, okay? Right. Adam and Abigail's banns were read out on the 5th day meeting. They're to be married in 10 days. I thought banns were read out over a 3-week period to give the community time to consider the match. Apparently, they wanted to do things faster here. Adam and Abigail did not tell me their intentions before the meeting, so I was surprised that the rest of the community when the announcement was made. Right, so with that, Grace only died a few weeks ago, okay? Well, Honor can't stay. Now, okay, she really had to start looking for her own husband. She can't stay in this community as an unmarried woman, okay? She has to get married, and then she meets Jack, okay? And Jack is a perfectly nice guy. He is a farmer. He also owns a dry goods store. So he's got a good standing in the community. And Honor decides to marry him. Okay, they don't know each other that well, but they can build on that. They live with his mother Judith and his sister Dorcas, okay, who's a bit younger. But Honor is without her familiar bonds. She's lost her sister. She's a stranger in a strange land. And it has to really kind of capture what she's going through. It does it really, really well. Honor would assume that she would have a deep familiarity and connection with her husband, born of a shared history and community. But then that did not guarantee success either. Sammy's abandonment had been sudden, as Jack's courting of her was her now, and deep familiarity she had relied on, turned out to be as hollow, were not accompanied by physical attraction. At least she felt lust for Jack. That was something. So she marries, okay, and Donovan actually is not pleased about this. He's like, well, someone got in there quickly, didn't they? And you wonder if a more appropriate time had passed, would Donovan have tried to court Honor? But because of her faith, and she actually says to him quite directly, I would never associate with a slave chaser. Okay? So, right. But quilts. Now, this is a book about quilts, about quilting. Honor comes with quilts. Sisters are burned. Honor takes a section to put into a quilt later. There's marked differences between the quilts that the Americans have and the ones that they make in the UK. And to start her new life as a married woman, Honor needs more quilts. It's, to Judith, it feels like very much like a dowry. Now, I said hope chest, okay, things that people have to start their married life. She can't marry, okay, or without quilts. She's going to marry Jack, and quilts that she'd given to her friends, she fresh out of the UK from America, now got to be sent as part of, let's say, her dowry. Then her mother-in-law is going to give her some quilts, but then she has to make more to replace the ones that she was going to give her mother. So we replace those ones. Now she has to make more quilts. So basically 8 quilts in total. Okay? Right. Here you go. V must ask for thy quilts back from England, write and explain the circumstances, ask for the comforts be sent. It will take several months, but at least V will have them. How many can V get back? Well, 3 perhaps? I don't know what traditions are in England, Judith said, but here, young women should have a dozen quilts ready for marriage, and a 13th made, a whole cloth one in white. Perhaps Abigail and Adam did not tell thee, as there's a second marriage where the tradition is different. Right. Yes, so she has to give these, give these quilts, make quilts, as like part of it. And if you're into quilting, the techniques they use and the colours, it's absolutely incredible. Right, so that's a lot of his dedication is to quilts. Okay, but Jack and Honor, because after they get married, due to talking to Belle and Miss Reed, who's an African American woman living further along, okay, who Honor befriends, okay, who is living free, okay, is the politics of slavery. Now, it's very, very easy to be opposed to slavery. Hey, everyone should be opposed to slavery. Slavery is absolutely terrible, as all happens in this day and age, and it's fundamentally wrong, okay? But it's the politics of the land against your own personal beliefs always coming into conflict. And Jack actually reminds her that, because when he finds out that Honor has been assisting in her own little way, okay? Runaway slaves. Right, here you go. And he makes it clear about everything to do with the politics of the land. I know English friends have strong principles about slavery honour, Jack continued, as do Americans. But we are a little more practical. Putting beliefs into practice is harder than preaching it. Think about the cotton V has used for Vi quilts. Much of it, even what V bought in England, was made using slave labour. We try when we can to buy cloth in association to slavery. There's a little difference, for there's little of it. Sorry, that is difficult because there's little of it. And yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. But Honor, due to, even though that her new marriage can be ripped asunder, okay, due to Donovan and the Fugitive Slave Act, in which people who help slaves can also be persecuted and prosecuted, Honor still helps slaves. Now, her idealism is absolutely wonderful, okay, but she is putting her family in danger in this. Her very, very young family, her sister-in-law who's young, her elderly mother-in-law, her new husband, right? But she leaves food out and she becomes a part of the Underground Railroad. And one thing I did like is that Miss Reed, she did actually say that she thinks the name the Underground Railroad is absolutely ridiculous name. Okay, right. So each time she waited for one of the haymakers to find the crate and accuse her. And I went behind the hen house until the chicken got out, or Jack took the hoe to the snakes that lived in the holes there and stole eggs. Right. Often she don't see the runaways. She could only be certain they were out there when the food that she hid disappeared. So she sets up this underground railroad, but becomes a part of the Underground Railroad, which is admirable, but it's putting the family at risk, and she never discusses it with them. However, they find out. At one point, Donovan finds out too, okay, but says, "Do not stop doing this. I turn a blind eye because you're putting your family in danger." Okay, so Honor, she takes a vow of silence. She finds out she's pregnant, okay, which now her family is all at risk. As she takes a vow of silence, she won't speak. She won't speak unless her family basically help become part of this. Right. Here you go. Right. Our decision not to help runaways any longer did not stop them coming. As the weather improved, the steady stream passed through the south. But she does say to them as they're coming through, "I can't help thee. I can't help thee." Right. then she takes a vow of silence because it kind of gets too much for her. Okay, all these slaves coming through the farm asking for help. All she can say is, "I can't help thee. Move on." Okay, just please move on. Right. Then, because it gets to her, she takes this vow of silence as a way, I think, of, trying to maintain some control over this. Stranger in a strange land, she's pregnant with her first child, um, and she wants to help, but it's all pressing on her. It's all pressing on her. And in the end, she runs away. She literally packs her bags, being heavily pregnant, 8 months pregnant, runs into a slave who's on her way back to get her family, okay? And who even points out the what stupid idea this is. Honor has some great ideas, by the way, and noble ideas. Of course, it's noble, but how she goes against it and how she does it is wrong. I mean, taking a vow of silence, running away. Okay, right. This bit here. The black woman was glaring at her. What's with that slave catcher? You're friends with him. You're leaving your husband for him. This is when Donovan knows that she's in the forest. No. No, I'm leaving because I don't share the same views as my husband's family. Doma snorted. That's ridiculous. You don't have to agree about everything with the people you live with. They forbade me to help runaways. Old woman clicked her tongue. Right. Yeah. Okay. And it takes Miss Reed, okay, who Donovan decides to come after, okay, to make her kind of see sense that what she's doing is noble and idealistic. Of course it is. And the people she's helped, hey, they're great. They're most definitely grateful for the help. Okay, they just go on their journey to freedom. But it's kind of also futile as well. Okay, what she stands to lose as well. It's rock and a hard place, and it takes Miss Reed, who she goes to Belle, has the baby. Donovan is constantly in the background here, and it takes Miss Reed to kind of point out that your ideas are noble, but this is the reality of the situation, right? You know how many slaves there are in the South? Honor shook her head, lowering her eyes to her hands in her laps, and Miss Reed wouldn't see her tears welling. Millions, millions. And how many you helped in the last year? Maybe 20. We've got a long way to go. It should have aided something you need to break your marriage over. That's just foolishness. Any runaway would tell you that. All they want is the freedom to make the kind of life you got. You go and throw it away for their sake. You're just mocking their own dreams. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Because if the longer Honor is run away from her husband, she gives birth, it's a little girl called Comfort, she stands to lose her position within her community. Once again, the hypocrisy of the Quakers. And also, she stands to lose everything. Okay? So, hey, this is one thing I liked about this book. Even though, okay, Honor is arrogant and, she's a stranger in a strange land, and she feels she's in a rock and a hard place. There's no easy solution to this. One thing I will give this book is that there is no easy solution. In the end, Honor and her family have to actually leave the area. Okay, Donovan is killed, by the way, and Belle's actually dying. So this is a book with no wonderful happy ending because there wouldn't be a happy ending, and I liked that. And one thing I will give this is that Tracy Chevalier did her research with it. She even points out, okay, this bit here. It has been estimated, this is from Chevalier's notes, that between 1800 and 1865, perhaps 30,000 African Americans managed to escape using the Underground Railroad. The slave population was 3.9 million. Okay? In other words, less than 1% was able to escape, making the Underground Railroad less significant than we might hope. But for those 30,000 who managed to escape, it's significant to them. Okay? Every single one of them managed to go to a free area or to Canada, find their freedom. Okay? That. I mean, maybe in 30,000, okay? At least that 30,000 was something. And that 30,000, it was an agitator against the master. So, I liked this book. I really, really did. Honor is arrogant, she's flawed, a stranger in a strange land, she thinks she knows better. And the last Runaway, I love it because it doesn't really have a happy ending, because it wouldn't be. Slavery still carried on, and there's a civil war on the horizon. Right, I'm signing off here. Bye now.